Lego. It's the original Batman. Original Batman. Oh.
It's V-Kills.
Aye. Gucci on the Prada, see me feeling bad. I'll be looking like.
Alright, y'all, I had to finish eating the french fries, child. I just could not resist, and it's my B. But we're gonna start this off with Mary. And y'all already know how I feel about Mary from watching the part 1 recap. But just to recap, we talked a lot about Mary in this episode, in this part of the reunion. One thing that I did point out before was Mary's entire storyline. See, stuff with Utah, with Salt Lake City, is coming out a little weird, in my opinion. And her whole storyline was basically, it was in her grandmother's will that she was to marry her grandfather. And now we finally get her to fess up, and she says that it was actually not in her will. So Andy and everyone in the cast is just trying to, like, I don't understand. It's something that she's not saying, something that she's not owning up to, that just does not make sense to us. It wasn't in your grandmother's will, so therefore it's just very crazy. She only talks about her grandmother. She never talks about her mother in the show. And I would have thought, just like Andy said, hey, if it was to keep it, the riches, whatever, in the family, how come the next person in line, your mom, could not marry your grandfather? Why are you the one marrying your grandfather? And she kind of circled around the answer. We did not get no direct answer. Like I said, in my opinion, I still think it's some type of incest or something going on in that family. She said that her grandmother said, since she robbed her husband of his youth, she wants him to marry one of his girls. I just feel like that's just very nasty. Like I said, if you looking as a grown man at little kids, that to me is just very disgusting. I do not care. I do not care. Marrying him at 22, 24, whatever she was, around that age, and he was, what, 30 years older than her, or whatever. It still does not sit right with me. She said she wanted to take her grandmother's place. Like I said, like, her grandmother could have just protected her assets and just gave everything in the will to her granddaughter. She's not telling the whole story. And kind of like I said on my Instagram, if y'all don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. But it's just like, the fact that Bravo and Andy, out of all of the black women in Salt Lake City, y'all picked this one black woman to have not only this god-awful wig with all this designer, the one to be with her grandfather and crying over Chanel, while saying in the same breath she's not happy in her marriage. They sleep in separate rooms. They haven't been intimate in years, but he is the person who buys her Chanel bags and all her designer things. That right there is the lead pastor of a church. Let me tell you, okay? And I'm not here to cast judgment, honey, even though it sounds like it. It's just that is not a good representation. Something about the casting, it's racist. I don't care. It's Black History Month. I'm pulling the race card. It's racist. I don't care. Y'all can call it how y'all see it, and I see it as racist, because you could have picked any other black woman to represent black women in Salt Lake City. Oh, I'm so happy we have a black person on the show. And for the black community to just get debacled and bogged down with this lady who you fessed in front of us, is honestly, it's blatant disrespect. That's what it is. It's blatant disrespect. She just talked in circles the whole time. However, another alarming thing came up to Mary about on the reunion, when she was talking about, apparently there's a taping about her, a taping of her speaking, and saying that, you know, she was mad at her congregation for being poor and broke and not giving her presents. And she said it was taken out of context, and hopefully I pray that it was, because to say stuff like that, honestly, we already know what type of person she is. And I'm not not even saying, because we don't know this girl we don't know this girl in real life, but at the same time, it's like if you're gonna act this way just for TV, it still gives people a glimpse of who you truly are. And for her to act this certain way, like she's better than thou, she's upset about what Jen has said about her being a granddad effer, which she is. I don't understand why everybody was so bent about that. We'll talk about that later, when it is the truth. Like, you are effing your granddad. Like, that man was your grandfather. He definitely was your grandfather. So I don't understand. I just don't get it. Another thing is, yeah, the whole crying over Chanel. That's when I was just done with Mary and the whole people aren't blessed in this world. But I feel like she used blessed as a materialistic adjective to describe people who do not have a lot, because the way that she said it, that, you know, if you don't do good things, that's the reason why people aren't blessed, like I am, basically. And you know, it's just like, and the thing that she's always talking about, how she has such a good life, is because she married her granddad and now she has designer and homes that she can't count. So most of the stuff that she brags about is always materialistic things. She's not bragging about love. She's not bragging about her great family. She's not bragging about how her son is doing. She's not bragging about good friends. She's literally bragging about stuff that can literally be gone one day, here the next. Like, oh my gosh, the Chanel bag is not going to travel with you when you go. It's just, yeah. So when she said that, I was just like, okay, we're done with Mary. Next, we're going to talk about the hospital situation, because this was like the entire almost plot of the season. That one comment at the end of the first episode that Mary made was very disgusting. And that half apology that she gave Jen, if I was Jen, I wouldn't have accepted it either, to be completely honest. Her and that wig can take their apology and go elsewhere with the granddad. Jen finally fesses up to not ever going to the hospital, and I just thought that was very weird, because throughout the entire season she kept saying, well, my grandma, my aunt, my aunt, my aunt, my aunt, my aunt. And even when Jen was in her face while she was being a Christmas tree at the party, if we can recall, at the party, Mary was like, yeah, it's just that when you came, I knew you smelled like hospital. And she was like, I went to go visit my aunt. Jen said, I went to go visit my aunt. And all of a sudden now at the reunion, you talking about you didn't go to the hospital? So y'all mean to tell me y'all really didn't have no real drama this season, to where we getting to the end of the last leg and we got flags on the play, because stuff is not adding up with this entire series. Is it just me? Is it just me? I mean, I'm still gonna tune in, but stuff is still not adding up. I just think it was really odd how Jen never brought the whole hospital thing up. And next we're gonna talk about the whole racist situation between between Jen and Mary as well. I don't know. Mary does strike me as the type of woman who thinks she is better than thou as a black woman. She probably does not. First of all, everything we need to know about Jen being a black woman says it all by her wigs. We all done went to high school with that one black girl who swore that she was not black. She wore the messy buns. She had the messed up wigs. You know, she was hanging around the cheerleaders. That she just did not fathom the fact that she was black. Mary is that person. So I can believe the things that Jen claims that Mary has said. I don't think that it's far off at all. The fact that Jen was saying that Mary claimed that if she sees black people at a gas station, she gets uncomfortable and this, that, and the other. And Mary's just like, well, it's just people at a gas station. I don't want to say that Mary is racist, but I do think that Mary probably is a colorist. I do think that she tries so hard, it seems to me, as if she tries hard not to be a part of the black community, which it's fine. It's fine. We the people don't want you. Although that sounds mean, but it's like, girl, we love you, okay? Sister in Christ, we might love you, but we don't want you on the show. That's what it is. We don't want you on the show. We're already fighting enough as black women. We don't need you added to the mix on the show doing all of this, okay? Oh, no. Let's go back to Jen right quick since we're on Jen and Mary. I don't like how the cast was coming for Jen about what Jen said about Mary being a granddad effort. I don't like how Andy brought it up and made it seem like it was such an atrocious thing when she is. We all know she married her grandfather. Or her step grandfather, right? Well, let me not. It was her step grandfather. But still, step grandfather, grandfather, you still got to say the word grandfather. He's your grandfather. He wasn't your blood grandfather, but she still married her grandfather and she had a kid with him. And in order to have a kid, she had to have effed him. So therefore, I might not be Inspector Gadget or Sherlock Homegirl, but what I do know is 2 + 2 = 4. She is definitely a granddad effort, and she just needs to stand in solidarity. What I'm looking for in Mary is just to stand in solidarity for some of the stuff that she says, because she's always seemed to be reneging on things. Like, girl, just be like, yeah, and I got this Chanel bag since you crying over Chanel bags, and I got this Dolce & Gabbana blazer since she crying over that. Just own up. I don't like how the entire cast was trying to make Jen apologize for the fact that she was saying the truth. The truth really bothers people. I've noticed that in life. The truth really gets under people's skin and has them very hot and bothered. And Mary, my girl, was very hot and bothered. Lisa and Heather this whole episode was getting on my nerves. I don't know if it was just me. Please comment down. They were getting on my entire nerves. I could not stand them. They were bickering the whole entire reunion over nothing, over who's a better friend. It was screaming. It was getting up. And I just find it very peculiar that Lisa was able to get up, and the fact that Lisa was able to do all of that, and I didn't see not one security guard, not even a hand. I didn't even hear Andy tell her to sit down. I thought that was very funny. Something about that. See, a lot of stuff really got my senses just all types of messed up because it just does not make sense. Lisa definitely did held it down. Before her tantrum and her crying spell and her storming off, Lisa did hold herself down with Heather. I think she was giving Heather a run for her money. She was not only the loudest, she was articulating her words. What I would have liked to see more is Meredith stand up for her friend more, because at the end of the day, if y'all are so much best friends or whatever, if somebody is coming for my best friend's character and screaming at my best friend and saying all these ill things to her, I'ma jump in. I mean, yeah, I know that Lisa can hold herself and she's a grown woman, but it gets a time where it's like, okay, you screaming at my friend for a long time now and I'm gonna need you to back off. And I just did not see that from Meredith. Meredith was giving me, with her very much stiff face, I could not tell how she was feeling because of the Botox. I don't know what emotion Meredith is feeling 99.99% of the time. We don't know. Was she upset? Was she bored? We don't know, because we can't tell, because the girl has no muscles that are available to move in her face. So as she was sitting there with her stiff face, I was just like, she was looking beautiful though. I was just like, oh my gosh, are you gonna say something? And of course she did not. So Lisa, in turn, you know what, Lisa Mama, I think she gets the crown for this reunion. I did think it was a little odd that we found out that Lisa recommended Heather for the reunion, which is odd, but not really, because at the same time, you can be an acquaintance and not really know somebody, but know of them and be like, hey, I mean, I kind of know of her. I'm not really that close with her. We might follow each other on social media. It seems to me as she might be a good fit for this franchise. So I don't understand why they were trying to blow that out of proportion, maybe to just, I don't know, get some type of reaction out of Lisa, which I guess it did work. If Lisa, yeah, so those are all the notes that I have with Lisa. I didn't like, Lisa Mama, I know this is your first reunion. You did hold it down all the way up until you went backstage and started spazzing out. You should have collected yourself like Candace did. Go to your husband, let your husband make you feel better, and then came back. He should dry your tears for you, and you should have came back A1. It seems to me as if Lisa storms off. I'm not sure if she's going to be in the part 3 of the reunion. She did say that the ladies can continue without her. So hopefully we will get to see Miss Lisa in the next part of the reunion. more than we see her vodka on the shelf, because I don't see her vodka on the shelf, child. But hopefully we get to see her in the reunion. Now, next we're talking about Meredith. Like I said, Meredith, I don't know. I just don't like how Meredith kind of left her friend out. And if it was one thing for Meredith not to say nothing when the girls were coming for Lisa, because Whitney and Heather were both yelling at Lisa. So if that's your best friend, how come you just didn't interject? And not only did she do that and it rubbed me the wrong way, the fact that Meredith did not go check on what's her name, did not go check on Lisa when Lisa ran out and was screaming and crying and very hysterical. Clearly she was very hurt. Why did she not go and check on her best friend? I just find it very odd, because ain't no way anybody's coming for my best friend and then I see my best friend running off the stage and crying, because I'm gonna go get her. I'm gonna be like, look, if the husband don't got her, I'm gonna get her, and I'm gonna be like, girl, collect yourself, dry your tears, and we're gonna get back up on the stage. But the fact that Meredith just kind of sat there and the only thing she said was, well, I hope so. Like, you better, well, I hope so. You're behind backstage to make sure that she gets on stage. Meredith didn't say much this episode because last episode focused more on her. I know we're going to get into the tea of her marriage, which is what the people are looking for. And last but not least, we are going to talk about Whitney. He still did not get much into Whitney this episode. Whitney's take this episode mainly was yelling at Lisa, and the entire reunion, besides the points that I already talked about, the whole hospital gate, race gate, you know, with Mary and Jen, most of the reunion this episode was just Heather and Lisa arguing. Now, he did get more into Heather and the fact that her marriage failed and none of her marriages failed in her family. Like I said, I've always been like, that touched my heart with Heather. Although I've never been married, I know how it feels as a woman to want something to work out so bad and it hasn't. So to the extent of being married and having children with someone, I know those feelings are probably 10 times over. And so I like that she was able to open up about that. I like that she was able to open up about how she talks to her girls with, you know, having the sex talk with them. And she's saying how she's very open and honest with them. She said that she wants her girls to have multiple partners, which is not ideal for a mother to say. But hey, because she wasn't able to have multiple partners growing up and she only had one partner who constantly cheating on her during their marriage, I can see where she arrives at that. I don't want my girls to experience saving themselves for someone who's just going to turn around and disrespect them their entire life. So I can see why she arrived there, but at the same time, I did not like Mary's reaction to it, as if it was kind of judgy. But it's just like I said, everything about Mary is just null and void. She is sleeping with her grandfather. Like, I don't even think, no matter how many times I say it, I can really fathom and understand when she judges somebody else or says something crazy about someone. Because if Andy was understanding from what Heather was saying, because Heather's whole entire storyline was built off of the fact that she felt like she was such a failure because her marriage ended. And as a woman, I like that he shined that to be her storyline, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of women out here in this world that probably feel the same way, especially if they're Mormon or whatever faith or religion that preaches that marriage is like their purpose. Growing up and having to see that marriage was your sole purpose in life, for it to only just fall apart, that has to be heartbreaking, as if with anything growing up and thinking that's your sole purpose in life. So I just feel like we might, you know, we just everybody soften their heart to Heather, okay? Soften their heart. That's the only reason why I still like her in that ugly 2015 dress that she got on. I digress. So that is my recap for this reunion. Stick around for next week. We're going to be reviewing part 3. Hopefully we'll actually get into some juicy stuff because the husbands are there. So instead of just bickering and crying and running off stage, we'll get to hear some tea about Meredith's about Meredith's marriage. That's what we want to know. So I hope y'all like this video. Go ahead and thumbs up this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And like I always say, stay true to yourselves. And I love y'all so much.